What do you think of everything that's happened then so far? You know, it's been a busy couple of weeks, or it's been a quiet couple of weeks, but a busy couple of weeks in the kind of dental world. What's your take on it so far?
Well, it's unprecedented, insane times, isn't it? There are two aspects to it. There is the clinical risk aspect to your team and your patients, which I think are in dentistry are reasonably well protected. But we closed a fortnight ago because of the risk to the team, or the perceived risk to the team. So that's what pushed us over the edge. So all of our clinicians and actually all of our team were happy to carry on working, but I couldn't, in good conscience, take the responsibility to put them at risk without further information. So we stopped earlier than I would have liked in terms of I was very clear that if you went further into this, once you stop for safety, you can't open because you're skint. Okay, you can only open for safety,
isn't it? Because that's one of the things I've not really worked out. Under what scenario could we go back? Because it's not going to disappear in 3 months, is it?
No, and I think that's so there's that issue. There's two tracks for me. There's that issue, which is the safety issue, and how do we get back clinically, and then the second issue is just the absolute economic carnage that we find ourselves in, which is in part as a result of this crazy reaction that we've had, just this crazy fueled public political reaction that we've had. And I was chatting to Sebastian in Basel today, and he said, you know, he's a professor of oral surgery at the University of Basel, and said he still feels that the reaction has been too much. You know, and so but it's
what do you mean by that? Sorry, I'll just come back to that. So what do you mean by it's too much? What do you think is too much?
I mean, it just the fear and because when you break down the numbers, the numbers are not absolutely terrible. So to give you, and when you're in if you can get to the situation, what we said all along, or I've said all along, is, you know, secure your family's health first and foremost, okay? Particularly your older relatives, right? And then secure your personal finances as much as you can manage to do that. And that's hard for everybody, but you have to, if you haven't already cut back your monthly spend by up to 70%, then do it now, okay? Because you have to do that. Because once you do that and you have a platform, and you can say, well, I have 6 months of spend, or 8 months, or a year, or whatever, right, in the bank, then you can think more clearly, and you can look at the problem as a technical problem. If you don't have that situation, every bit of news that you get just increases the anxiety and the panic. So you have to get above the panic, don't you? So once you get above that, if you look at it, because we're like healthcare scientists, aren't we? Really, that's our role, our job, or it should be. And we're finding out who are and who aren't at the moment, aren't we? Which is another interesting point. But so if you look at the stuff from Imperial College, or you look at the stuff from University of Oxford, or you look at the stuff that's coming out, you know, from Neil Ferguson, for example. So Neil Ferguson is the guy who his science has been most cited and used in the government's response from Imperial College. And he was the guy who was heavily involved in the political reactions to swine flu, for example. And what he did in swine flu is he said, "Oh my God, 1 million people are going to die," and then everybody went, "Oh my God," and then they didn't. And then they came out the other side and went, 1 million people didn't die, right? And so his first estimates for death in the United Kingdom for this were 500,000.
That's
right. And so of course the machine reaction to that is let's not be accused of under preparation, which I completely appreciate, and I completely appreciate that. But now we're I don't know what the numbers are. I don't look at the numbers so often. I try every 2 to 3 days to look at the news now, no more than that. But we're in danger of the fact that we might be hitting a plateau now. Okay. And then he said recently, you know, that he thinks it's likely that we'll keep the numbers under 20,000. Okay. Now, every one of those is a tragedy, absolute tragedy. If it's one of my family, it's a tragedy, right? Whatever age they are and whatever's going on, but it's not 500,000. Okay. And so, you know, it's so that the reaction, you know, the global wreckage that we've created here, because we are entitled now, because as individuals, we are entitled to our safety, we are entitled to our health, we are entitled to our life. It's out of balance a little bit, you know. If you get through the other side of this, and the United Kingdom has 17,000 deaths, and everybody's going to go back, our country's destroyed. Then the aftermath, the deaths in the aftermath of this, through depression and through poverty and through whatever, could be a lot greater than the deaths from the virus itself. And And then how do we get back to work? Well, that's a big issue, isn't it? But that will have to be shaken down.
That's the most interesting one for me, because it's almost like, if you were to ban cigarettes today, how do you bring them back in? And I feel like we're in a kind of similar boat in that we've banned dentistry because the coronavirus exists. And but it's at risk. And how do you bring that back? How do we go back?
But we probably should be a little bit less insular about that. So we've not banned dentistry. Dentistry's just happened to be banned because aerosol producing procedures in health have been banned. Okay. Right. So to remember, dentistry is like a small bit of healthcare. So they banned orthopedic surgery per se. They banned maxillofacial surgery. They banned the ENT scoping. They banned examinations on ENT clinics. They banned. So we will look at dentistry and go, oh my God, what have they done to dentistry? They banned pubs. Yeah. Right. So they're going. That's going to have to be shaken down, and we know that. Right? Dentistry is going to have to be back, and you can speculate now and say, if you were. If you're an NHS practice and they're going to go into £7 per time PPE for aerosol procedures and a 10-minute clean round as a minimum, it's going to wreck your business model. So they're going to have to find a solution to make that work, right? Yeah. And there will be a solution to me.
So you're obviously not checking the news that much because you don't know the numbers, and I think that's very sensible. Where are you getting, what kind of media are you consuming at the moment generally? I mean, it doesn't have to be related to just healthcare or science or things like that. Are you listening to more podcasts? Are you reading things? What are you doing?
I'm too busy to get it. So I'll tell you what I'm doing. There's a website called Information is Beautiful, which was given to me by a surgeon friend of mine, which I check. It's actually updating most days. Information is Beautiful now. So I watch the trends. Yeah. Right. So I watch the magic numbers, which are like the deaths doubling rate, how many days, right? Cases and deaths doubling, and stuff like that. And so I get, if something big kicks off, like Grace came down, my eldest daughter came downstairs last night and said, or this morning, I can't remember, and said, Boris Johnson's been taken in the hospital. Yeah. So I get the headlines, but then I don't have to sift through the garbage to get the headlines. And you're all the same. You'll find out that Boris Johnson's died. Somebody will tell you. Jeez. You don't have to look every 10 minutes on the BBC News app to find out what his temperature is. Right? Yeah, I'm with you. It's a little bit if you are on social media, what you'll see is there's just everybody I know is doing a webinar, and I'm doing a podcast and things like that. So there's almost a bit too much going on to kind of keep up. So like the second mouse catches the cheese, right? Yeah. So the first mouse gets killed by the mousetrap. Yeah. And so first guy in, you're just going to get hammered, and the noise that's being created digitally and electronically is just it's like drinking from a fire hose, isn't it? It's impossible, right? Yeah. So you have to cut your inputs down. Yeah. And that's your responsibility to 4 or 5 really solid inputs in for you. And also, that's just my view, and it's not meant to sound arrogant. I hope it doesn't, but it's not. It's just how I'm coping, right? But remember, I'm the weirdo who cut out social media like 4 years ago. Yeah, right? So I don't do social media, or hardly at all. Anything. I had thousands of followers on Twitter, and I just stopped. Yeah. Because the balance, the advantage of that information input to me balanced against the disadvantage just didn't add up. Right? Okay. So, it just doesn't add up.
What about this then? So what advice would you give to someone in my shoes, like a 34-year-old, full head of hair, not much underneath? What would you do? You've got 3 months off. What would you say? Would you just say, look, just chill out, switch off? Or would you say, look, try and work on this? Or
I would say, so if you got your own practice?
I don't know. I'm an associate.
Right. Wow, you're golden. Yeah. So I would say, have you secured your family's health? Yeah. And have you secured your personal finances? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I would be absolutely focusing on what comes next after this. Okay. I would be saying, how do I make myself better? Yeah. How do I make myself more resilient? Yeah. How do I make myself in the top 10% of what I want to do? And how do I maximize helping other people who are not as fortunate as me?
Interesting.
That's all I would do.
Right. So let's take those then. So let's say you're wanting to get yourself into the top 10%, and I'm in the kind of like beginning. I'm a total newbie to the implant world. I've been doing it for like 7 or 8 years. What would you do to kind of improve yourself or get yourself up to scratch in the implant world?
I would, if I were you, I would latch on to anything that's been produced by reputable organizations, and and filter that. So I would do the ITI,
yeah,
because the ITI is brilliant,
yeah,
and it is the only implant organization you ever need in your life. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
And I know I'm aware that other implant organizations do exist in the United Kingdom, but I would focus on that.
Okay.
The content, so you've got free access to the ITI Online Academy now for 3 months.
Right, you're right. Yeah.
Why the hell? Why are you not using that? Why are you not scheduling 3, 4, 5 hours a week on that? Right? Mm-hmm. Why are you picking the things you're going back through your casebook and going, what was difficult there? How do I learn from that? How do I get better at that? Okay, mm-hmm. and making contacts and alliances with people that you trusted, that you liked. Okay, that's how I would be making myself better. Right. Yeah. That's the first thing I'd do, and then so you know your PDP isn't clinical, is it? Your PDP is a complete personality thing. So so are you developing yourself as a philosophically? Are you developing yourself ethically? Are you developing yourself clinically? Are you developing yourself? Mm-hmm. And I would be staying healthy and fit, mm-hmm. right? Yeah. So I would be doing meditation, yoga, whatever it is you want to do. I'd be going for a run, or I'd be riding a bike, or I'd be going for a walk, or doing whatever. Mm-hmm. I'd be doing that. And so that's the things I would be doing to make myself better, right? For coming out the other side. Yeah. And then I would be looking around and saying, what impact can I have to help us do this? And that might be doing a podcast, or it might be volunteering to work in an urgent treatment centre, mm-hmm. or it might be going to deliver food parcels for people in the local community, or whatever you choose to do that you think is positive. Yeah. That's what I would be doing.
Okay. Yeah. No, interesting. And like one of the things that I think, and I think you're probably amazing at, is maximizing productivity. So I know what I know about you is that you only check your emails on certain days. You you don't waste any time. And what kind of hacks?
Well, I try not to, but
yeah. So what kind of hacks? Yeah. What do you do to maximize your productivity? How are you so much more productive than your average dentist?
I don't know that that's true. That I am, but I'll tell you what I try to do. Right?
Yeah, go on.
Is that I don't and I've perhaps been worse at it of late. But I don't. You're right. I answer emails from Wednesdays and Fridays generally. Yeah. And I invest. What I always did was I invested benefits, money that I'd made or profits from a business, into people who could also help me to maximize my time. Yeah. So I have a clinical PA who types all my notes, all my emails. Okay. So my emails get dictated. So if I have 50 emails in my inbox, I can do them in 15 minutes, and then she sends them for me. Right. So I would, if you wanted a lesson in how to be more productive. Yeah. I would listen to a book called Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport. Okay. Yeah. And I would listen to both the Cal Newport books, but I'd listen to Digital Minimalism, and he'll tell you how to shut down the digital distraction, right? So I would never ever have a notification for anything on my phone, ever.
Right. That's right. Okay. Amazing.
I would switch that off. That's outrageous. Yeah. Because behind your phone, there are 1,000 people in California trying to sell your attention to someone else. Yeah. Right. Okay. So I would check your Instagram feed if you insist on being on that platform when it suits you. Yeah. Not when it suits someone else.
Okay. I like that. Yeah.
And so turn off your notifications. I get texts and phone calls, but my phone is on silent all the time, and it doesn't click onto my watch. Okay. Yeah. So there is never ever for me an emergency that exists. So if somebody has died, they're already dead. Yeah. Right. And so there's never an emergency that exists really that I have to be there like this minute. Okay. And so if you want to get deep work done, so Cal Newport wrote 2 books, Deep Work and then Digital Minimalism. If you want to know how to work productively on good stuff, Deep Work, Digital Minimalism, they're both available as audiobooks. They're magnificent, right? You read them.
Everyone's always in a rush to go nowhere now, aren't they? And I'm probably
they're busy fools.